Hello and welcome to another Friday football forecast. As usual, I'm Jeff Jones and I'm joined by my good friends, the other members of the KVUE sports team. We have Corey Mose and Tyler Feldman. Now, as all of you know, there is no UT football game to look forward to this weekend. It's a bye week, but we have plenty to recap in the first 8 games of the season and plenty more to look forward to in the rest of this year. What I want to start off talking about, though, is the optimism that was there through the first few games of this Texas season that has seemed to fade now. And Corey, one reason that optimism has faded is because this team has lost back-to-back games on the road, and that's not even where it ends. That losing streak extends farther than these past 2 games. Corey, what's the deal with this team in road games?
And it's funny, Jeff, because a couple of weeks ago we were saying how this is a new culture for Texas after they came back and defeated Iowa State, but it's different on the road. I mean, the hostile environment, you're not at home. And so I think one thing that people aren't putting into perspectives, this team is young. Like, it seems like we just forgot that this team is full. The quarterback is a redshirt freshman. The best wide receiver is 19 years old. Against Oklahoma State, they had three true freshmen on the offensive line team, and then the best player arguably in the country can't even buy a six-pack after the game. And so when you're in those hostile environments at such a young age, they're not pro players. If we're being honest, they were just in high school a couple years ago. And so when you're rattled, when you're trying to face adversity in that type of crowd and environment, and fans are screaming at you on the sideline saying how bad you are, you're just not used to that. And so maybe it's time to give a little bit of grace for these 19, 20, 18-year-olds.
Corey, the bravest man in sports broadcasting, asking college football fans to give 18, 19, and 20-year-olds a little bit of grace. How dare you bring common sense to the Friday football forecast, Corey? Those
wild,
guys are young.
Wild. Like, come on, dude.
Those guys are young. It is a 5-game losing streak when you look back at the last Longhorns true road games. They've lost 5 straight. Tyler, speaking of losing, well, we saw the team lose a winnable game to Oklahoma State. They've lost winnable games time and time again this season. Where is that line between what fans should consider a failure season and an acceptable season? How does the rest of the season look to find an acceptable outcome?
Well, Jeff, you look at last year, 5-7, you think the only way is up, right? Can't get worse than that, right? Well, at this point, after that Oklahoma State loss, now we're reconsidering 4 games left. What's going to happen? At Kansas State, a very good ranked opponent, versus Kansas on the road. You're taking on a very, very, very good TCU team at home, and you're taking on Baylor at home. So 2 road games in Kansas and then 2 tough home games. So at this point, you'd like to think they can go 7-5, but I don't know, man. 8-4, I think, would be best case scenario. 6-6 would be worst case scenario. Either way, I think we've given this Texas team more than enough grace. I'm sorry, Corey. I think we've given this team, every college football team is young. They've all got young guys. I think what makes this Texas situation frustrating is at their best positions, their skill positions, they've got so much talent and experience that the expectation has just got to be much higher than what they've accomplished so far. That Oklahoma State loss was tough. I think that changed the trajectory of this year, but they still have a chance. And I think that's the optimism right now for Longhorn fans. 4 games left. It's not going to be easy, but they still got a shot.
A little perspective for Texas fans. This program has only won 10 games once since losing to Alabama in the national championship game about a decade ago. Things don't look like they're going to change that trend anytime soon. Tyler, you already told us you don't see 10 games in the future for this team. Neither do I. Guys, speaking of the future, we don't have a Texas Longhorns game in our near future, but we had plenty of high school action tonight. Stay right there for Friday Football Fever coming up very soon.